Hi everyone.
Hello, hello, and welcome to this new live of Smode. And today, our thematics will be the timelines to become a time master. To do that and to help me to explain the way to be to work with timelines, I will be with Basile. Basile, please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Basile. I'm a product specialist at Smode, and I will assist Erwan during this live. And with us, Laurent Meyer.
Hi, I'm Laurent, software developer at Smode. I will be reading the questions on the side and forwarding them to the team when it's most convenient. So don't hesitate to ask all the questions you have. Back at you guys.
Thank you, Laurent. So let's start with an example on Smode of what timelines is inside Smode. You will see that there is a lot of aspects inside the timelines in Smode that look like After Effects and other software of motion designs, but with very special stuff inside. So let's start with the basic. By creating a new composition with main timelines to explain you how it works. Basically, when you create a composition with the main timelines, you have this panel that show you the timelines. You can extend these timelines by clicking on this button, so it allows you to have a better look of your editing of your animation. So I am more convenient with this kind of look. I don't know why. Let's create an example of 2D layers we want to animate. Let's start with a uniform right now. Let's have this uniform rescaled like this. So for example, if I want to have an animation of this, this black bar going from left to right, thanks a timeline, I can simply select these timelines, select also the layer and the parameter I want to animate. I simply have to drag and drop this parameter. So in this example, it would be position. Inside my timeline to tell Smode that I want to animate this parameter over this time. So here, I am able to custom my animation thanks this parameter. So I have to create a keyframe here, change the value of this keyframe as a starting point, go at the time I want. So for example, in this case, it will be 4 seconds, and change the value to something else. And now I can go and travel inside my timeline to see the animation. Press spacebar to play the timelines as any other software. And this is what I get. This also, keyframes can be custom, so manually. So here I am in a mode that that need me to click over this button to add a keyframe and set a new position to this solid. So for example, here I have added a keyframe and set the position of the y-axis at maybe 90%. At 90%, so this is my animation. But I also can be on a different mode, which is the auto key. So auto key is now on. So for example, if I go here in at a moment of my timeline without any keyframe, and if I select my solid and move the parameter of my solid, not the parameter of my keyframe, not the value of my keyframe, but the value of the parameter animated inside my timeline, it creates automatically a keyframe. This is what you can disable by clicking here. So now if I go at another moment without any keyframe, and if I move my parameter, I see the viewport updated. So I see that my my uniform is now here. but it didn't change anything on my timeline. And at the moment I changed the time I was on the timeline, it gets the other value of interpolation between two keyframes. I hope this is clear for now. We can't see it very well, but I have something convenient in Smode. So let's put this uniform in red and the background color in black to see that inside the viewport, Smode display me the travel of my red solid. If now I switch to the edit mode, you see that there is some points that corresponds to my keyframes inside the timelines. So for each keyframes, you have a point you can custom the viewport. So it changes the value of the keyframes. It's also very, very useful because if you right-click over this point inside the viewport, you are able to change the interpolation to Basile, for example, and create other animation. So it will smooth a little the trajectory of my solid. Here and here. And this is what I get as animation inside the timeline. So you can disable the displaying of this path because it's a helper. So you can disable helpers right here. And also another thing that can be very useful for motion designer and animation stuff. It's the shortcut to change the spacing between the keyframes. So if you select many keyframes here, you have a block, you have a blue block that appears. And if you maintain shift, as you can see, my cursor on the border of the block change to the double arrow. Now I am able to drag and drop this, and it will automatically change the space between the different keyframes. So this allows you to have a better look over the rhythm of your animation. If you want to have something more fast or something different in time. So here, as you can see, the spacing is too big between those keyframes. So I select them both and change the value, the spacing between those keyframes. So this is something I can do also by simply moving these keyframes right here. Also about the interpolation, as you can see, when I select a keyframe, my parameters panels don't display me the value of the dragged parameter inside the timeline, but the value of the keyframes. So here you have the position of the keyframes inside the timeline, so a time code. You have also the key, so the value at this time of these keyframes, and also the interpolator, so the interpolation as linear or Basile or smooth, that you can change right here also. This is like the same as I have done with the points when I was in edit. Here I can choose Basile, for example, and if I switch to edit, here my point is also in a Basile mode. I hope this is clear for everyone for the beginning. So as you can see, it's pretty like After Effects or other motion design software. This one won't change. These features don't change to the motion design for now. Let's have a quick look over the timelines proper. If you select the timelines, also you have the parameter panel that updates to the parameters of this main timeline. So inside this parameter, you will be able to decide if you want to play your timelines, pause it, reset it, or finalize your timeline. So for example, let's reset it here. You have all the buttons. Here you can play, reset, make a pause. Right, the basic. Mode of your timelines. So this is the default value. It's in manual, which means that you have to click on the play button right here or here to launch the animation of this timeline. So you can change this between 4 modes. The first is the manual. The second one is restart with activation, which means that every time I activate the composition that have this timeline inside, the timeline will start at the same moment. If I click on the activate again, sorry, I have, yes. So as you can see, inside the timeline is playing, sorry. At the moment, I reactivate the composition. So let's make a pause over this. Change also the launch mode to restart with intensity. I don't think I will be able to this one with this composition, because restart with intensity is based on the intensity that contain of the parent layer. So just to have a quick look over what restart with intensity do, I can create a composition inside this composition and having a main timeline of this composition. So basic, by default, it didn't have some. So let's create a main timeline of this composition and just look at this panel, because this panel now display the main timeline of this compo. Of the compo, let's rename it 02. So if my timeline is in restart with intensity, it plays by default automatically, because my intensity here is not 0%. If I put the intensity at 0%, and this launch mode of the timeline is in restart with intensity, the timeline will wait that this the intensity of the parent layer, so the compo 02, will be not 100% to start. See? And if I go again at 0%, it restarts with intensity. Another similar mode, and the last one, is the play with intensity. It's only play when it's not 0%. So here, for example, I am in 70, so it's play, and let's put the intensity at 0%, the timeline pause. So now if I put this at 10%, it play again. So this is how you can launch main timeline thanks to those parameters, depending of the parent layer. As usual, also let's have also the let's remove this one. Latency. I hear me well, because my internet connection today is not very good.
We have some cut in your voice.
Yes, I'm not surprised because I have also some cut on my internet connection. So let's have a quick look over the very first main timeline to those parameters, the parameters in and the parameters out. It's defined the in point and the out point of your timeline. You can customize by default. The in point is 0 second, 0 frame, and the out point is the same of the length of your timeline. Oh, by the way, the length of your timeline can be customized directly here. So for example, if you want your timelines begin at 4 seconds, so at this moment of the animation, you can activate this parameter in and tell Smode to start this timeline at 4 seconds, so 4 points as a shortcut. And now if you play, it jumps directly at 4 seconds. Okay? You can also make put an out, so maybe at 8 seconds, 8 points. And this is what I get. So it won't display the end of the animation. You can also customize the speed. customize the play mode, so forward, backward, in ping pong. So every time it reach the end of the animation, so at 1 minute in this case, maybe we can change this at 10 seconds, just to example. For example, let's put this one in ping pong and remove the parameter in and out. So if your play mode is in ping pong, the time cursor make a ping pong. And you can have a reverse ping pong, which is basically the same, but in reverse. The last one will be the subject of the ending of the live, so I don't explain you right now, but it's one very, very important to know when you are on stage. Also, you can make a loop of your main timeline if you don't want to have this timeline stop at the end of the animation. You can tell that this loop, and at the end of the timelines, it will loop. So in this case, it will make an infinite ping pong in time. So this animation will go back and go forward and go back again. I hope this is clear right now. I don't know if there is some question about this, about the animation, about the custom of the viewport.
Nope, no questions about it for the moment.
Okay.
The only questions, there's been one, but it was not relevant. And there was one question about Basile's hair. People are wondering where it went, but that's it.
Okay.
Cut. I have one remark. I don't know if you tell them later, but when you drag and drop a layer inside the timeline, you have a block, and I don't know if we talk about this later, Erwan.
No, but basically, I just wanted to add a parameter inside this timeline. So, for example, the rotation. Let's pause it to illustrate that every time. So let's go back. Just go back at this moment. If you want to change the rotation of this block inside your timelines, you can drag and drop the parameters, create a keyframe, change the value of the keyframe right here. So for example, have this one. If you want to change the color, also it's the same. You drag and drop the value, create a keyframe, and change the color like this. So it creates a collection of parameters inside this. And there is a way to animate and make some video editing inside every other software. It's a block logic. So when you have this, you can organize and you can make video editing thanks to the block by simply drag and drop the layer that contains those parameters. So here, you can change the value, you can change the block and add this block over inside the timelines. So it organizes automatically here the collection inside your inside a single layer inside your timelines. So you can fold and unfold to see the animation contained on this block.
And this block controls the activation on the opacity of the layer.
Absolutely, because if you are here, so at the moment of the timelines when the block is not on the time cursor, you can see that my layer is deactivated, and at the moment it's the block, the cursor is on the block, it's activated. And as Basile said, it's also control the opacity. So just to mention and have a better look of the opacity, I want to create another, maybe a text layer with this track opacity, this kind of text, and add a quick background to it.
So Erwan, someone is asking
Yes.
on the chat if the uniform could be a PNG or a video.
Absolutely, it can be anything. What I have explained with the uniform inside the timeline is true for every parameters. So you can drag and drop every parameters inside the time relevant, some are not, but it depends of what you want to create. It can be PNG, it can be a video, it can also be 3D. It can be a 3D model, or for example, if I create a torus, really, oh, sorry, I have huge latency.
Okay, c'est bon.
Okay. For example, if I have a torus inside my composition and I want to change, let's have, for example, the thickness of the radius, like that. I can drag and drop the thickness. It creates a new layer inside my timeline and change here the thickness through time by simply adding some keyframes and change the value of each keyframes. So maybe this one is a little too much. This is what I have. So that can be, yeah, so that can be, it's not a question of media, it's a question of parameters. You drag and drop any parameters and any layer inside your timeline. So just remove the torus and go back layer text track opacity. Let's increase a little the size of. So if my layer track opacity is inside the timeline, so I drag and drop the layer inside the timeline, it creates a block, and if I click on the block, also the parameters panel update to display me the parameter of the track. And you have some parameters right here. So you can custom the position of your block, which is basically the same of drag and drop it at the different time. You can also change the length of the block, so it's 5 seconds by default. If I play with this this block, so I get my cursor at the border of the track and change the length of the block, it updates this parameter too. One that are very, very, very useful are the intensity fade in and intensity fade out. Because as Basile explained to you, the block controls the activation, but also the intensity. So if you enable the intensity fade in at the beginning of the track, it creates this little function. And I say function because you can customize the curve displayed here thanks this little box. So you can retrieve the basic function. So here it's in linear ramp, you have the noise, you have the expo. And what does this? So it creates a fade in. But it creates a fade in based over the function of you picked here. So in this example, it's a linear ramp that length. So maybe I can change to display 3 seconds. And here it has been updated. So I have a linear ramp fade in at the beginning of my block. So it creates this kind of transition. Something very, very useful is to change the linear ramp to noise. And here you can make an make this track appears by that can be useful when you want to have an element of your animation a flickering transition that make it appears. If you want to create light neon effect, something like that. If you unfold this parameter, you can customize very deeply the shape that compose your transition, so your fading. For example, here, if you change the contrast of your function, so let's put it at 100%. and have a huge frequency. Let's put this at 1 second. It will really create a flickering effect like that. See, in some kind of I don't know, it's like a neon. Yeah. So this play with intensity as fade in, it's the same with the fade out, and here you can customize the minimum and the maximum of your function. So, for example, if you want to have this block not covering the animation of your uniform behind, you can tell it that, okay, you make a fade in, but you don't make a fade in over this % of intensity. And so this allows you to have this, and you will see that the opacity is only at 50%. I hope this is clear. Any question? Because this one are the basics, so it's important to ask if you have some question. No, Laurent?
For the moment, there is no questions.
Okay.
I think you're super clear.
Okay, so this is perfect. So.
I can add also, if you right click on your block, you can customize the opacity track. If you want to have keyframe to make the opacity, you can obviously take the opacity here and drag and drop it here to make it appear. But you can also on the track click on customize the intensity. And also the block logic is to be duplicated, so you can duplicate it and have the effect multiple times. So I'm in reverse, but so you can have multiple. You don't duplicate the layer, you duplicate the block to make it playing in different time of the timeline. I think it's a good addition to have.
Yeah. This is something you write to explain, because I totally forgot to mention that duplicating a track is not duplicating a layer.
Yes, because in After Effects, for example, you need to have multiple elements like this. You need to duplicate the layer, but in Smode, you don't need to do that, and it's the way to do it. It's like this. So you duplicate it, and you can change the duration of each track, and also the opacity of each block. So if you want to have the first block like this and the second block like this, you can.
Yeah, thank you, Basile, for this intervention, because I've totally forgot to mention that this is a different point of After Effects, and duplicating the block is not duplicating the layer too. I think it's also the time to mention some very useful shortcut. For example, if you have a look of your animation and you are here and you want to, so you use the middle button of your mouse to zoom inside the timeline and outside the timeline, and click on it to change the view inside your timelines. You can fit the view by simply press F, so it updates this panel. So you will see the entire animation of your timelines, and also you can activate or deactivate the magnetism, the snapping of your timeline. So this allows you to be more precise, or to use this to have snap easing for snappings block with other block. So maybe I change the play mode of my timelines at forward. Let's have something
Erwan?
normal to this. Yes.
Do you have time for a little question about the duplications that we were talking about? So if you make a change on the original one, does it impact the other one?
If you make a change over this block, does it impact this one?
Yes.
But basically,
No.
as you can see here, I am clicking on this block, and the intensity maximum of the first one is 50%. And if you click on the second, the maximum intensity is 100%. The reason is that every time you duplicate a block, it's a new block, but it's not a new layer. So this block is copy and paste the value of the main one, but it's independent. So here, if you don't have a transition in noise and have a transition in let's have a scene. This one keep the noise transition, and this one have a new fade in as intensity.
Okay, thank you very much.
Also, as you can see, when I create a fade in and fade out, I am playing with function. And playing with function is something you will see a lot inside Smode, and this is something you can add inside your timelines to animate very, very quick some element through the time of your timelines. Let's have, for example, I don't know, maybe I can add also a text so I can display what I am doing. This one will be function in timeline. Let's have and rotation. Let's have a background to it. Also, increase a little this one. Let's imagine that I want to have an infinite rotation of this layer through timelines. So it won't be the same as the previous lives about animation bank, because here I want to animate the rotation through have an infinite rotation through the timeline. So at the end of my timelines, the rotation will stop. I can drag and drop this parameter. So I have explained that this is the value of the keyframe. This is the auto key. In this case, it's a number of turns of the rotation. But I don't have explained you that when you are over this little button, you have some option that appears. And you can, for example, pick this one, function. If you click over this little blue line, you see that in your parameters editor, you have some parameters that will automatically remind you what we have seen inside the animation bank lives. This is a function through times. So if I move my cursor, you see that my solid, so my text, sorry, function in timeline rotation is actually rotating. Let's have a quick look over what my function does. To have a better look of your function and your animation through function, you can switch the view from track to curves. And right, I don't know where it is.
Select kit. In
Sorry?
the, you need to select.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
My bad. And here, you can see the function of the rotation, my rotating animation. So this is what you get. Let's select this one again. So click here. If you want to change the period, because now we are speaking with function, but and now with keyframes, you can click here, drag and drop, and change the period of your animation. So this will take more times to make a full rotation. You can also have some repetition. You can change the shape here. So let's put this in sinus, so it will go back and forward through times. And at the end of the animation, so let's don't have this timeline in looping mode, deactivate this and go here. At the end of the animation, it will be the value of your curves. Okay? Now, if you go back in key, you see that it will only create you automatically 2 keys that correspond to your animation you have decided with function, but it won't repeat it through times. If you want to have an animation that repeats, you have to be in function. Hope this is clear, because function inside timeline might be something weird for somebody. I don't know, maybe. Basile, do you see something I forget to explain inside the function? Because basically it's the same. It's the same parameters here. You can retrieve when you create,
yes.
Linear loops, and to do that, you have to see the previous slides to understand it.
Yes, no, I think it's good. Just maybe auto navigate inside the, but it's like everywhere. So
yeah, it's the same. It's the middle button of the mouse. I don't know if the middle button is the right word to see it. Okay. Hope the people understand me. So this is for the very basic and the very the base of the animation inside Smode. But it goes deeper inside the non-linear animation, as you could maybe see during the lives about Animation Bank. You can create animations that didn't depend of timelines or launch mode or play and timecode to have something moving inside the viewport, so inside your output. So inside the timeline, you can create some objects that are independent of the time code of the timelines, and some are slaved over the time code of the timelines. Let's have a quick look, and I think the better example to explain this is the time marker. So let's create a time marker, but simply press N. If you go inside your timelines, move your cursor at the time code and press M, it creates a time marker. So just create one. It's the same shortcut as in Adobe Premiere or other software. You can select this marker, change the label, so it's my marker. That can be useful to have some notation information for something you want to change. It can be useful to be used as any other time marker inside any other software, but you can use it to create a non-linear animation, because when you select your marker, you see that inside your parameters panel, you get the parameters of the marker, and you have some here. Oh, I don't know, Basile, are you on the? Okay.
No, I just my Smode screen is freeze. I don't know why.
Okay, so let's activate it again. So if you select your marker, you have something very useful, which is the action. But before seeing the action, let's just have a quick look of the two other buttons. If I am here and click on this trigger, move timeline to marker, it does what is writed. It moves the timeline to marker. If you are breaking, so if you activate the breaking of the marker, play at the moment the timeline reach the marker, it makes a pause. You have to press the spacebar or play again to relaunch your animation. But in action, you have some action that are displayed when you select the box. Let's have a quick look of the action loop of this marker. Every time the timeline reaches this marker, the time cursor will loop. But it won't loop at the moment at the very beginning of your timelines, but will loop at another marker. So if I create a marker before my marker, so this one is another marker. If I play, as you can see, this loop at the other marker. Okay?
It's looping at the previous marker. We can say
yes.
It's like this.
And you can also decide to go to another marker at another time of your timeline. So for example, let's create one at 10 seconds, press M, reach this one, select my marker, and in action, change the loop to go to. So here I have, I can choose the queue, so these timelines, and I can change the position, so the time code to reach to or a time code, so you can enter the time code here, or a marker. So let's just have a look of what is how my timelines is the behavior of my timelines when I change this as maybe 6 seconds. Every time it reaches my marker at 4 seconds, it jumped automatically at 6 seconds. But you can be more precise by using the marker options. And here you will see the collection of the different markers you have inside your timelines. So if you want to reach this one, which is this marker, you pick this one and tack, it reached this one. And thanks those markers, so I can change the time code of the reach this one marker. So for example, if it's at this moment, I can go here and it creates this. I think those people who use the Flash will retrieve the same logic, because it does have the same option inside Flash, inside the Flash, if I remember well. But you can also make it very, very deeper thanks to other actions. For example, the content. So let's maybe add. Let's keep this action for later inside the live. I don't know if you see something to add. No.
On the marker,
yes.
No. But
no,
maybe we have some question.
There's a question that from Chris Marquez about.
Yes.
It's more like, when would you use a timeline and when would you use a loop?
It's you have to decide it. From my point of view, you have to use the timeline when you want to have custom and deeply custom animation. And timelines are more for linear animation, and loops are for infinite. So you just want to have something that make this loop, it don't have any begin time or end times. It's only a loop with a speed. In this case, it's more convenient and more relevant to use loop. And when you want to have, I don't know, for example, characters that work, it's better to use timeline. But it's
Okay.
It's
Okay,
kind of the same UI.
Also, do you have shortcuts to share for the go-to option? Keyboard shortcuts?
The shortcut for the go to this marker. No, unfortunately, I don't have anything to share because this is only a trigger option inside your timelines. So there is no shortcut for this marker. This is a parameter, so you can expose one for the people who follow the lives of the parameters bank. They will see that if I right click on it, I can create a trigger parameter. So every time I play with my timelines, I can tell Smode just remove, of course, remove those markers. Every time I'm playing my timeline, if I have to reach this one at a moment, I can use this trigger button. And keep in mind that also, because it's parameters and exposed parameters, or because also it's just a parameters, you can link these parameters to a MIDI controller or any other data that go inside Smode. So this is not for UI. This is for writing your show and encoding and create I don't know, maybe interaction or something like that. So there is no shortcut. You have to decide what is the shortcut. But there is the shortcut to reach the previous and next key. Yeah, so it's the same. I think it's the same on After Effects. I don't remember well, but G and K. G to previous, K for reaching the next keyframe. Thank you. So as you can see, we begin to have animations inside Smode that are not linear animation because you can at any moment reach time code. Yes.
We have also the question from Chanabel Sebastian.
Yes.
I think I can respond to him.
Yeah, with pleasure.
So when you select something and you press Shift, you can time stretch the keyframe. But I think your question is, can you time stretch a single track? Yes, because when you select a single track, you stretch only the selected keyframe. So if you want to stretch multiple tracks together, you select all together, and you can time stretch the whole. So I think it's the question you ask. Please ask again if it's not the good answer.
Yeah, don't hesitate because sometimes it's difficult to understand what in English what the real question is. So okay, let's have a quick look about what is linear and what is unlinear animation inside Smode. You have a very quick example to have non-linear animation. It's when you create, for example, a noise, a Berlin noise, you have the option play standalone. And the play standalone is an option that make an animation. So in this example, the evolution of your Berlin noise, but not through timelines because it's totally independent of your timelines. So let's decrease the opacity of this one. And as you can see, knows that already reached the 30 seconds of animation, and now I can play with my timeline after creating this layer, and the compositing still work. But sometimes you want to have this Perlin noise in your timelines because you don't want to have this layer at the beginning of your animation, but at, for example, 6 seconds of your animation. So let's go at 6 seconds. Here, as you can see, I have a Perlin noise and a standalone player. If I drag and drop the layer inside my timelines, Smode needs your intervention to know what to do with this player, because it's not clear for him for it. Do you want to have this animation, the animation of the evolution of your Perlin noise as a slave, so it takes the same time code of the timelines to make it evolve? Or do you want to keep it as standalone and just playing with the Perlin noise as a track or a block? So if you make it slave, here the animation is stopped because now my Perlin noise need to play with need to have this timeline played to evolve. Let's put the opacity at 100%, so it will be more clear. Here, as you can see, oh, yes, of course. Yep. Come on. Here, as you can see, the evolution of my Perlin noise depends of the time of my timelines. But if you Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z, if you drag and drop it again and choose keep as standalone, so this is only a block of appearance and intensity, but your player don't need to have this timeline in play mode to create the animation. Is it? Hope this is clear. And as usual, there is no better way to do, or and there is no best way. It's just you have to decide what kind of animation you want to create. But as you can see, inside my compositing, I have linear animation, so I rotating blocks and the other track and the other uniform here. And non-linear, because I have Perlin noise over the timelines that don't depend of the time code of my timelines. This is true for a standalone player for Perlin noise. This is also true for every standalone player. So for example, you can have a video. I'm clicking on play all. It's not. So for example, let's import a video. So this is the teaser of the 8.6. It will be our example of today. If you have this video with a standalone player, you can also make the same for your Perlin noise. You can keep your video as standalone, and in this case, the only thing you will have is a teaser, so your video over your timeline, and it will begin at the beginning of the block by default. But if you pause your timelines, your video is still running. So let's remove this block, and also maybe the layer 2. Yeah. So this can be done with standalone player, but you also want to have animation bank, and as Chris Marquez said, sometimes you want to use loop and you don't know if you want to have it inside the timelines or as a function or as keyframes. So maybe you want to keep it as a loop. I think I can put all of this inside a composition or a group and just simply add it and hide it. Okay. Let's have a look with, for example, I don't know. Yeah, let's use magenta. Magenta uniform. Switch edit off. We use a lot of bar like this to illustrate. If I right click over the rotation parameters. Now let's have a look with the scale. I can use a back and forth loop, so it go bigger and go smaller. So this is my animation. I can go inside my main timeline right here too. And let's imagine that this animation is in pause and reset. Okay? Here I have my marker again. And inside the action of my timelines, I have queue. So if you are in queue, you have a collection of the different queues, so the different things you can retrieve inside your animation bunks. And here I have only one. It's my animation. So this, loop magenta scales, scale factor width. And this is the behavior of your queue when it reaches this marker. So for example, I can rewind and play. Rewind and play is correct. Let's play my timeline again and have this group over this. Here my magenta is activate. You don't see it because the scale is at 0%. Let's play the timeline. And tack, here we go. The moment your timeline reach the marker, so the marker reach this one, your loop rewind and play. Is it okay? I hope. Let's pause. Let's pause this main timeline and also reset this animation. So if you want to reset your animation or just finalize your animation at this moment, you can create also another marker. Have this action to queue. Also select your loop and maybe pick finalize. So this is what you get. It reach, so it launch your animation, and the moment it reach this marker, paf, finalize. So it reach 5 seconds, the end of your loop. I hope this is okay. Also, you can do this with marker. Let's remove the marker and see what it does when you drag and drop loops inside your timelines, because you can do this also. You have two options right here. You can choose animate from timelines or merge into timelines. Let's have a look of animate from timelines. This will create you a block that make the animation through over the duration of your block. So if you increase the size of your block 2 times, your animation keep looping. If you merge this loop inside your timelines, it won't be the same. This will recreate, as you can see, a curve right here. And it disappears of your animation now, because now it's a curve inside your main timeline. That can be convenient. That can be better in some way if you if somebody have create many loops inside your animation, and you need to have it as a timeline animation, maybe for making a video export or to be more precise inside animation, keep in mind that you can, for every cue inside your animation bank, but simply drag and drop it inside your main timeline and merge it as a function. Is there any question about this? Because that might be tricky for some part.
We have a question, not necessarily directly about it, but so Bert is asking if you can put a timeline before 0 second, 0 frame, because he wants to have synchronized commands for moving screens, and he would need to start the media at 0 and have stuff triggered before that. I don't know if it's clear.
But
would you have a trick for this?
You can, in this case, in this timeline, you can just imagine that what you can use your timeline if there is no time code right here. Just imagine that if you have a timeline with only a speed and a position of the cursor. So you won't have the 0 seconds or any other seconds. But you have a starting position of your timelines. That can be the parameter in, that can be a marker here, with a move timeline to marker, exposed as a trigger parameter, and pretend that this trigger parameter is play. Okay? So this will play automatically, just connect the play to the fake play, and this will work. You can, Bert can imagine in his case that this is the 0 of the timeline, so he can do everything he wants before 6. So if you want to launch some media before, he can, for example, create the marker or make this timeline play at maybe 2 seconds, 3 seconds, or the time you need to have this media right before. But if, for example, I have a video, so just keep just keep this example with this media. Let's put it inside my timeline, select it again, go in track, and put it here. If you want to have this video, have a block that starts, for example, here. It means that you don't want to have this block on the starting point of this block at 0 of the time code, but after. So you can simply also select the track here and select the position in of this track and change it. This is also another way. So for example, this start at 12 seconds of my teaser, because if it's at 0, it's the opening, so you have the logo and the 8.6. But if you want to begin at 20 seconds, this is what you can see, some example and some extract of the teaser. I hope this answer is question. Laurent?
I think so. So Bert is saying that it's a bit hard to edit an exact timing in the show like this.
Okay.
But I don't.
Because it's content without time code, maybe, or I don't know. I think we can manage sometimes to see both, but I'm pretty sure that there is solution to the problem.
Okay, Maybe yes. Maybe we move on to something else and discuss this further. Thank you.
Any other question? Maybe
no
Basile?
other question for the moment. No?
Okay, Basile, do you see
we have a question, but probably related to Bert's question about triggering with MIDI. So Chris is suggesting that we trigger stuff with MIDI controllers instead.
Trigger all play and pause thanks to MIDI controller, or trigger everything and control everything with MIDI controller? Because
maybe start something. Maybe just start something.
Yeah, I think so, because for the example of I've shown it's only translation in position, so you can do this with percentage, as we have seen inside during the live about parameters and links. But for example, having a character that working on motion design, it's pretty hard to control with your MIDI controller. And if you want to create it with Smode, it's basically something you can you need timelines. But you need timelines just to mention something very, very useful. Also, it's when you have keyframes. Here you have the value of your keyframes at this moment. Okay, so just to mention this with maybe let's remove this layer, activate this group. I don't want to see those tracks. Just want to see. I just want to see my uniform here, my uniform moving here. If you select your keyframe here, you have the value of this keyframe. So the value indicated with this point, okay? Let's change the interpolation to something more logical. Don't know, something like this. And this slope, like that. This value are parameters, are independent parameters. So for those who really want to have the control of the animation, they can simply expose the value of the keyframe as parameters. So let's imagine that we expose this one as percentage parameter. So this is my starting point. And at my ending point, I will maybe have this animation at 70 and 20 in this axis. Okay? What happened inside my animation if I move this percentage right now? So it will move the value of my keyframes. Okay? So this is a point of your animation you have the control over. So now if your timelines, for example, is moving, so it's playing, let's increase the speed to just see it better and make it loop. Here you have this first animation, and now I just decided that at this point, my animation, my key is going to this point. This is something you can do also. Here you have the same timeline, the same rhythm, but not the same animation because you have linked these keyframes to a parameter. I hope this allow you to imagine some stuff you can do with the timelines and linked timelines, and what kind of animation you can imagine with linked keyframes inside timelines. Basile, do you see something to add about the timelines right now? Because I'm already I am at this to show how to make a timeline linked to time code, but maybe I forget to explain some stuff.
No, I think it's good, but maybe when you have sous-comp, pre-comp, which have also main timeline, maybe show this, how it's working.
Yes, I think so it remember me that I can create another project also to mention where you can find the timelines and the main timelines. So let's create a new project. File, new project, and name is timelines.
I don't remember if we talk about timeline inside the animation bank.
Me neither, so let's explain this again. But just to mention that here I am in a project, so I am in a show. When you select your show, you can create your main timeline. When you create some other scene, you can create other main timeline to each scene. Main timelines are objects you can retrieve in both different objects in Smode. There is two, in fact, scene. So your show is a big scene, a collection of scene. Inside other scene, you can find main timelines, and also inside composition. So it's if you have your composition, so let's have your pipelines here. If you have a composition with a main timeline, inside this composition, you have a text. So with a let's create a background to this compo. Inside this composition, you have your text that go like this in 10 seconds. Up. Let's imagine that you have another composition with a main timeline with a uniform red like that, and inside this timeline your uniform rescale in width, so it's like this, and at 10 seconds it go at 0%. You can select your scene here, drag and drop your composition. So here you have your main timelines. It's automatically depends. So the timelines of your composition and the time code used of your timeline is the same of your scene. You can simply unfold your composition to see it. You can also have this composition inside. Inside your scene, so here, and add another moment. So here you have this, and it reach, and you have your animation like this.
Erwan?
Yes?
What is the advantage of using a composition over using a scene?
It's not the same. Using a scene is a collection of composition, and scene describes where you want to send your composition in for example, in which screens and at which moment of the scenes, or but the composition doesn't allow you to choose and to pick your stage element, the targeted stage element of each layer.
It's the inverse, Erwan.
But each layer of the composition doesn't have any target for a stage element, but a composition. But inside the scene, because it's a collection of composition, it allow you, the scene allow you to pick the target of the composition.
Yes, it's the composition which shows the target. The scene is just a group of composition. It's not the scene you chose the target of the element. The scene is just for grouping composition, and each composition go to one content map.
this is a moment of your show. So composition are not a kind of moment of your show, because composition doesn't have any target. But if you unfold your composition, you don't have you can't tell that this layer of this composition target this stream. Inside your composition,
Okay.
it's compositing.
Thank you very much. It is very clear.
You're welcome. So see, drag and dropping timelines into other timelines is possible. So you can use it to edit and create, I don't know, animation, some movie. You have an example of the teaser of the 8.3, but you have to use a really good graphic card. I can show you
Erwan,
the example. Yes.
Can I add something
Of
before
course.
we switch?
Of course.
When you are in this timeline with the two pre-comp, when you click on the block, you have some parameter added unlike the other layer, and you have the parameter automate transport. It's this parameter which synchronize the block with the timeline. So if you want to just control the composition in activation and in opacity, you need to disable the automate transport. And now, when I play the first timeline, the main timeline of the scene, the compo timeline is not played. So you choose which mode the timeline is played. So
let's put it in restart with activation to,
yes.
to make it more clear, I think.
So now when the timeline play, each time the compo is activated, it's restart, but it's not synchronized with the main timeline of the scene. So you can use this like a layer and control the opacity and the intensity. And also we don't motion it, but we have a shortcut for adding the fade in and fade out, which is
Yes.
pressing Alt and clicking on the start of the element. And now it's not working.
Currently because
Alt and here, not here and here. It's not the same. So as we can see, we have a small pencil, and here is the double arrow. So here we can add fade in and fade out to this compo. For all I need to.
Yes. Thanks a lot, because I have also forgot to mention the automate. Thank you. So now to finish the lives, something we really want to have when we are on stage is to connect your timelines. So we will pick the timelines of my scene. So rename my scene and connect these timelines to MIDI time clock. So we don't have any MTC at home, so we will just make a simulation of it. Let's go to your device, because this is something this would be a device added inside Smode. We will simulate the MTC by simply adding a clock input, so a time code as an input. So select this clock input, add. Let's have a new manual clock, so a chronometer. Okay, and apply. In my device panel, I see that I have my clock input, so I can play, reset, pause, and change the time code of this. If you want to have a scene connected to a time clock, you can enable this option. So he's not happy because you don't pick any time clock over on this option. So here it will make a list of the different clock inputs you have, clock device inside your config. So let's pick this one, clock input. So now if I play with my devices, it plays the timelines right here. Okay, so it transmits the time code. Let's reset this one. You have also another options that can be very, very useful. It's the start time code. So just to make these timelines wait, this clock input, this device reach this time code to start the animation. So for example, if I put this one at 5 seconds, and if I play the clock input here, it's not playing. I have to reach 5 seconds and boom, it played. So this, I hope this was clear. I hope people who want to make stage and people who want to make animation have everything and know now everything about the animation. Laurent, is there any question about it?
There are no new questions since last time. Thank you.
Maybe to finish, we can show the 8.3 teaser.
The 8.3 teaser. Yes. I had an optimized version.
Yes, and we will post it on the Smode Academy
yes,
site.
Yes. We will post it.
A very big
this is something you already have in your standard pack, because it's in this folder, the full project. This is kind of abandoned project because I had the idea to add for every version the teaser fully made on Smode inside the standard pack, but this makes too huge and too heavy composition for being a really great example to show. So you have only, the 8.3 teaser inside Smode. So let's open it to see how it has been done. So as you can see, this is timelines with composition that also have main timelines and sometimes also expose parameters. Be careful when you launch it, because it's very, very heavy. Thanks to also, I mean, we don't we had the wave file used the music of Amin Karma inside this teaser. So I will provide an optimized version of this teaser. But yes, as you can see, this is all a question of time marker compositing. Here I have, I don't know if it's not that bright, but for this moment of the teaser, I have my animation that explained what was Smode Launcher, and at the background I have another composition with some 3D. I don't remember what it has been done. So maybe it's it's a plane with random point. Oh no, it's not this one. It was this animation. Yes, this animation is a composition with timelines and a loop. And this is 3D with a rotated camera used as background of this composition, and inside of the composition that explains Smode Launcher, and inside the main timeline I have put it before. So before in the layer list. So that might be a good start for animation, but be very careful because it's quite heavy, and as you can see, because I have launched the unoptimized composition. It makes sometimes to load the different part of the teaser. Hope you enjoy this live. Basile, maybe you want to add something?
Maybe show the optimized version, because
yes. Let's open it. We will provide it on the Smode Academy. So this
Erwan,
is way
could you
better. Yes?
tell what the configuration you have right now is?
Alors, I think, Basile, you know
yes,
much better this part than me.
So the hardware of we can show the task manager. In this machine there is a Xeon, so it's a big processor with a lot of thread. As you can see, a lot of memory, maybe too much for this, but it's a Smode Academy server, a boost server. And we also have NVIDIA Tesla T4. I don't remember the corresponding in the, but it's a good card, but not the best card for calculating. But it's like 1080, better than 1080. Maybe it's like 1080 Ti. I think so. It's a nice, nice graphic card.
Okay. There's a last question. Thank you, Basile. There's a last question about timeline export.
Yes.
Can you explain how to do it and how it works?
To export timelines?
I think so. Yes.
Basically, you only need to export this in video. So yes,
maybe
maybe
to add, when it's a main timeline, it will be automatically played when it's the main timeline of the compo. Yes, Erwan?
Yes.
Even it's in manual mode, but when it's pre-comp timeline, which is not in the main timeline, it will not be automatically played. So if you have some timeline or in pre-comp or some timeline inside an animation bank, to be exported correctly, you need to put the timeline into restart with activation, because with the export it will not play it automatically.
Yeah,
so here, because we have main timeline, it will export like normally when you do export video. Yeah, you need to say something, Erwan.
No, it's just the main timeline needs to have a trigger, a play trigger, to basically, when you are in manual, it need a main trigger to launch the animation. So when you export a video and you pick your composition, your main composition with timeline, the expo takes the role of the. But for other animation, you need to tell Smode that at this moment you play the video. So you add your composition like this to create your video edition. So we do a quick, I see a very quick video export right here. It's I don't have a look. It's HAP.
Yes, we need to open VLC, which is not installed, but we can open it again inside
Smode.
Because I exported inside the timeline project, so we can import it here and place on the Does we have some other question, Laurent?
I think we are done for today.
Yeah. Okay. So thanks a lot for being here every day. We hope you still enjoy our YouTube live. So tomorrow we will see with Francis Maes the modifier and mask stacks. So this is pretty important lives for every content creators on Smode. Because it will be, I think, the very last basic stuff and basic object of Smode to learn before being a content creator of Smode. So hope you will be at 5 p.m. tomorrow to this YouTube live. Thanks a lot. And have a good day, everybody.
Yeah, bye. See you tomorrow.
Bye. See you.
Goodbye.